Well, Ahsoka Tano has arrived in the first 2 episodes of her series, and some time ago, saw this as a very important series because of the possibilities of what they could do to fix Star Wars. I'm extremely dubious that they'll do what really needs to be done, and I'm extremely dubious that this will be a good show. It's only 2 episodes in. There's some elements of it that's better than previous efforts, and that includes the season 3 of Mandalorian, which was quite the letdown, certainly in comparison to the first 2 seasons. And then, oh my God, the Obi-Wan series, which really angered me on many levels, but certainly even in the production and the aesthetics of it. Ahsoka blows that away. It does a much better job in just the look of it. The first episode opens very Star Wars-like, probably more than any of the D+ shows. And you know, they take a ship and all this sort of thing, and the introduction of your new, dark Jedis, I suppose. They're not going to call themselves Sith, even though their lightsabers are red, but what have you. With the performance by unfortunately, the late Ray Stevens. And he's an imposing presence, but, he's not really allowed a whole lot here. This is primarily a female cast, and that's evident within the trailers and everything, and it's intentional. And that's the problem with this sort of thing, where you know it's intentional, as if it's a response to the past iterations of Star Wars, and it's the wrong response. That's not what the intention of the original Star Wars was. You had 4 main characters in the original trilogy. That would be Luke, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and Han Solo. Everybody else is really more supporting than anything else. And, 2 of them are droids. One's a Wookiee. And that's the basis of it. Of course, you add on Lando later. But nevertheless, that's the main core of it, with Luke being the primary character. Here in Ahsoka, of course, it's named after her, so she's supposed to be the primary character. And, it seems to be more about Sabine Wren than Ahsoka. Now, she's going to be her apprentice. That's the title of the first episode, Master and Apprentice. And, of course, that would apply more. That must be Balin and his, little apprentice there. I don't even know if they named her. But anyway. It's really more about getting Sabine and Ahsoka back together. And which they do in the second episode. Sabine, they didn't do anything to make her likable. They did quite the opposite. I'm not familiar with all of the Clone Wars cartoons, and certainly didn't watch, Rebels, which is, oh boy, to really get caught up and everything. Just the 2 episodes on their own. I'm sure they're not explaining everything, but within the content of the context of the 2 episodes, you have a fairly decent understanding of the situation here. Certainly coming out of Mandalorian, Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn and all this, and the business of Ezra Bridger being lost along with him, and Sabine missing him and all that sort of stuff. But that's all demonstrated here. Even if you didn't know who it was, you get the idea that there's someone lost that she misses, and now there's this possibility of getting him back. So that in and of itself is fine. I'm sure it has more gravitas to it if you're well versed in the series, previous shows and all that. But was it completely necessary just by their presentation? I don't think so. I think it's fine just in that. But the scenes when they introduce Sabine, a lot of it's very formulaic. She's supposed to be at this ceremonial thing. And of course, she doesn't show up. She takes off to go playing on her flying motorcycle. She's two pilots are dispatched to go get her to bring her back. Nobody tells her what to do. She does what she wants, and all this sort of stuff. And she's got her little smirk. And I was going to say one of the positives of the show is that at least they're making more of an attempt to provide it with better music than previous shows did. It's not, of course, it's not nowhere near John Williams, but it tries for the most part. And then they kick you right out of the show with a rock song, And I was, oh my God, I went through this crap with Willow. Now, I think it's more of an original tune. It's supposed to be some, space rock song or whatever. Which, yeah, they did some of that with the cantina scene and that kind of stuff. But God damn, it's very little attempt to make it sound otherworldly or anything. It's just, and so right off the bat, you get the full-on attitude of Sabine Wren, and she's a badass and all this sort of stuff. So the first episode culminates with a lightsaber battle between Sabine and Balin. Not Balin himself, his apprentice. She shows up, and they duke it out with lightsabers. And it's probably one of the more boring lightsaber battles. And once again, women who get run through by a lightsaber survive it fairly easily. Qui-Gon Jinn, no, he drops dead and breathes his last to Obi-Wan. And train Anakin, and dies. Whereas, Reva, she was fine. And, sure, it hurt and stuff, but I don't know. They just keep missing the vital organs when they're attacking women, So anyway, Sabine survives that and all that. But anyway, taking it in full, I'll give them that she wasn't all that impressive in a fight. Which usually, even though she's toothpick limbed and everything, they'd have her throwing droids around and stuff. She fights with one, she catches one by surprise, but really she's kind of stuck with one while the other one goes and steals this artifact that's going to help them find Thrawn and Ezra and all that. And she struggles with the guy, the droid, and eventually gets the better of him. Takes off after, what's her name? The apprentice. And they had their battle, And she loses. And Ahsoka shows up a little too late and all that. So next thing they need to do is figure out what's going on and how they can track them down. They do. There's this chase to a shipyard. And then you have Ahsoka and Hera show up there. And they browbeat the little man who's in charge of the shipyard, and do that several times over while they sit there and pose and like, we're better than you. And so, of course, he's an idiot. He's got Imperial infiltrators all over the place. And then later he gets arrested with the rest of them. I don't know that they fully revealed that he was a loyalist or anything. He just said, hey, look, I go where the money is. So then they shame him for being greedy. But he just didn't know they were. He says, look, in order to keep things running, there's a little former Imperials running the thing because they knew the bureaucracy and all that. And that always happens. But they loaded him up and put him in cuffs and hauled him off. So I guess that's that. So there is a bit of a better battle of lightsabers between Ahsoka and this new, I guess, apprentice. I don't know. He's fully masked. And that one was whoever the guy was, obviously a stuntman who was good at choreography and all that. So it's a little bit better than the one between the two girls. And they're making off with a super duper pooper scooper hyperdrive engine, which they're going to need to be able to jump from one galaxy to the next. I guess that's the other galaxy that Rian Johnson was going to do his trilogy in. But apparently that's where Thrawn is, and with the super duper pooper scooper hyperdrive, they can get him back, and so that's what they intend to do. So in some of the trailer, I thought the imagery was the world between worlds, but it looks like no, that's just the map that this little relic reveals the pathway to the other galaxies. So, well, at least not yet. But Balin is basically hired help from, what's her name, Morgan Ellsworth or whatever. It was revealed to be a witch. So they got that going on. And she wants Thrawn back and to revive the Empire. And the Apprentice says, yeah, well, what's in it for us? You know, and Balin says, oh, it's power, more power than you can imagine. So I maybe he's running a scam on Morgan, and, you know, he's just doing this to get where he wants to go and all that. He even admits he'd rather not kill Ahsoka because there's so few Jedi left. So what exactly is his ambition? But can't help but notice the color of your sabers there, buddy. So, anyway, yeah, there's bad there. The thing about the casting, and it has to be all female, and emphasis on, you know, the Force is female, all of that is not appreciating the position they've put themselves in. It's the kind of thing that can knock your audience out, which you cannot afford at this point, especially since you did it for sexist reasons on your part. And that's a mistake. And in any other era would have been forgiven. It still would have been seen and eye rolled at, but if the story was compelling and good enough, it would, you know, all right, whatever, and that kind of thing. But after the damage you've done and you still do this formula, that's a problem. And so a lot of people are probably going to immediately go to YouTube and do their videos crapping on it. And does this deserve crap at this point? Not yet. But in the position that Star Wars is in, this was not good, you know. So it's just the first 2 episodes, but how many times have I said this? Same thing with Mandalorian season 3, and so still very dubious that by the end of this, I'll say, you know what? I didn't see it coming, but they really turned this around. Maybe, just maybe, they have something here. And for Mandalorian, even with the you know, retconning the sequel trilogy, which I never really thought they would ever do. I could easily see where it could be done. But even if they didn't, Mandalorian as a space cowboy show probably could have been all right for them. And they couldn't even let that go on. So what are they going to do here? Are they really going to correct things? Seriously doubt it. But anyway, it's 2 episodes, not a whole lot to put any hopes on there, but not really to say, all right, that's it, forget it, don't watch the other shows, it's crap. So, to be fair, we'll have to wait and see.